Hey guys, it's Donnie B, and you're listening to episode 6 of Eat It Up, Buffalo Eats official podcast. Thank you for listening. Today on the show we have a local blogger, Hanna, who's primarily known as the Kitchen Ninja, if you've heard of her. She's a line cook who's worked at a couple restaurants in the area and is actually from Hawaii and just recently moved to Buffalo, and she blogs about life in the kitchen, very foodie topics. It's actually a really interesting blog, and I hope by the end of this podcast you guys are all excited to read it, because she's a very talented writer, and we're very lucky that she came down here and talked to us. We basically talked about how the blog started, her experience working, all over, what it was like growing up in Europe, and she even had one memorable stage at Alinea that it was actually a really fun topic to talk about. So I hope you guys are excited. It's a very cool guest, and we had a really good conversation. The only other thing to mention before we get this going is tomorrow on the 22nd, I will be speaking at the Buffalo Foodie Panel hosted by Social Media Buffalo at Artisan Kitchen and Bath, a gorgeous venue. The talk starts at 6. If you are not a member of Social Media Club, tickets are $8. Roaming Buffalo and the Whole Hog will be on site serving food as well. So it looks like it's going to be a really cool event. I'll be speaking with Krista Glennie Seichu, who you might remember for our first episode, Beth Brickley, one of the co-owners of Hero Design, and also the author of Tasty Yummies, a really cool recipe blog, and Deborah Clark, who's the owner of Delish. So it's actually a really cool lineup, and I hope you guys can make it. So it's tomorrow, Wednesday the 22nd, at 6 o'clock, Artisan Kitchens and Baths. Stop on by, say hi, ask me a question.
Really?
Yeah, for 8 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So how was your vacation?
It was so cool. So cool. It was like a whale season in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, we went out deep sea fishing for tuna, and then the whales were out there, eating the fish, too. So, I was reeling in these tuna, and then all of a sudden we saw, these humpback whales, and they came up to the boat and, got all kind of, aggressive with the boat and everything, and it was, a mom and a baby, and
wow.
They were just, going under the boat and stuff,
Jeez.
And then there were, spinner dolphins everywhere, too. And it was just all this marine wildlife.
Yeah, that's
and I was
pretty intense.
Oh. Yeah,
how often do you get to go back to Hawaii? Or?
Not that often, actually.
I assume it's
super expensive.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty rare, like once a year type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Usually, I try and my parents travel a lot, so I try and meet them in between.
I see.
Yeah.
So how did you make it from Hawaii to Buffalo? Because that was just this year.
I know.
Right?
I've been here a year and a half now.
Okay.
And it was all his fault. So we met cooking in Hawaii, and then he was telling me about Buffalo and how cheap it is to live and everything. And, living in Hawaii, milk's $9 a gallon.
Yeah, I mean, everything has to be imported, I'm assuming. Or most of it.
Yeah, and everything comes in from California, and
okay.
You're spending $2,000 to live in an apartment with 3 other people. It's an impossible place to be young.
Yeah,
essentially is what it comes down to.
I mean, I don't know much about Hawaii. I mean, living in Hawaii, because you've seen Travel Channel shows and they show Hawaii, but then outside of Dog the Bounty Hunter, I don't think I've ever seen anything about actually living in Hawaii. That's got to be...
It's really cool, but really tough.
Yeah.
How
long did you live there for?
Maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, more of your young adulthood, or?
I got there, and I did a year of high school, and I graduated early, and then I went to college, and while I was in college, I started cooking, and I dropped out to cook, and yeah.
Okay. But yeah, obviously there's a local population, but is it a lot of... Are you just constantly seeing tourists?
Yeah.
I guess it depends where you live, too.
Well, The population in Hawaii is really weird. Like, one of the things they say there is that the Japanese lost the war, but they won Hawaii. And so, like, 80% of the population is Asian in Hawaii, and then the, white people or whatever are minorities. So it's kind of weird. Like, you'll be the only white person on a bus.
Wow.
And that's not, like, a bad thing, but it's just...
It totally makes different than...
it's a really weird experience. And then, like, you'll go to a shopping mall and... like, you'll be the only white person in the store. It's not like a...
It makes you feel like you're outside of the United States, so to speak. Yeah,
and the food there is really just completely different. Like,
yeah, it looks like... I've watched, like No Reservations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the food looks...
Well, Chris just opened, like, a ramen bar here, and it's, like, a big deal.
Yeah.
But in Hawaii, there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Like oxtail soup, stuff like that. Like, it's all, like, super normal there. Like, they have that in bowling alleys,
That's awesome.
Yeah, but...
Do you when you go back, do you just gorge yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you have, like, a list of, like, in your head where you just, like...
I do, and it's funny, because my parents, they don't like that food at all.
No?
So I'm always just like, okay, we have to go eat this and this and this and this, and they're just like, oh, no.
Just go by yourself.
Yes.
So you've kind of moved around a little bit. You wrote in your foodie article you did. Where have you lived? Like, have you lived at? It seems like you lived in several countries.
No.
Okay, or you just traveled.
Yeah, I traveled a ton, but we were based in Germany.
Okay.
My mom was studying law, and my dad worked for NATO.
Okay.
So we kind of bounced around Germany a lot and traveled everywhere. Like, every time we had a big weekend, we'd go to a different country.
That's awesome.
So my childhood was spent
So like, as a kid, like, were you interested in all the different foods in the areas, or were you
No. I remember just being really miserable in regards to food, because, like, my parents were, like, super excited to do all this stuff, but I was always crammed in the backseat of, like, a Volkswagen Beetle, and just freaking miserable, like, trying to read in the car and getting car sick and stuff, and then I'd get to some strange place, and we'd be in, like, Rome or, Paris and stuff, and then I'd, like, get the menu, and it would, like, have horse on the menu. And I'd be like, I know what cheval means! I know what horse is! And I'd been in the car for, like, 8 hours and just lose it, They're eating ponies! What the hell?
I feel like a little girl. That might be, like, super traumatic.
Yeah,
You have your little pretty pony set or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I could see that being a little rough.
I don't know. It was just like I didn't know what anything was.
Yeah.
And so, like, my parents would order stuff for me, but it was all, like, super unfamiliar all the time, and I'd eat it, but it was just kind of like...
Were they there for kind of a food scene, or was that kind of just secondary to just traveling?
My mom loved art.
Okay.
Like, loved art. So I've probably been to every major art museum in Europe.
Oh, wow.
And that was our thing. Like,
so that was, like, the primary reason, I guess?
Yeah. We never went to, like, fine dining restaurants.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever doing that. But we eat a lot of street food, and we, go to different places like that. But I don't think my parents were very interested in food at all.
So when Dining Room reposted your leaving the kitchen post,
yeah,
it kind of, no offense, but it reminded me about your blog, and I first learned about it from your article with Buffalo Chow.
Yeah.
And I was, like, nervous because you're ripping apart restaurant reviews.
Oh.
And I'm, like, reading it, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I'm, like, have, like, an internal checklist, like, am I doing all these things? And I will admit, I sucked at my first year of doing restaurant reviews, but I hadn't read it since then, so there's like March to but then I started reading, like, the archives. I started reading, like, your older posts and things like that, and I had no idea that you kind of out of a blue decided you wanted to work in a kitchen.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened at all.
So I guess, like, I mean, going from somebody who's not a super big foodie to somebody who wants to work in the kitchen, like, how did that happen?
Well,
So you were going to school for what?
I don't know what the hell I was going to school for, honestly. I was just dicking around in college, and I didn't really like college, and I was working for a law firm, and I didn't really like that either, and then, I just was scrolling around on Craigslist. You know how you get bored and just look at shit?
Yes.
I saw this ad, and it was for, a line cook at this restaurant that I liked, and I was just like, fuck, let's do that. Let's give that a shot. That sounds really hard. And so I wrote the chef this email about how I really wanted to do it, and he called me back, and he's like, all right, I'll give you an interview. And I saved that voicemail on my phone for years.
Really?
And years and years, because I was, so excited, and I hadn't been that excited in years.
Yeah.
And I showed up to this interview, and he was asking me all these questions, and I had no freaking clue, what he was asking. It was
pretty apparent that you had not worked in a kitchen.
Yeah, basically. But I think because I was a girl and I was cute, he was like, all right, let's give her a shot. And, my first day getting in there, I didn't even have, the special kitchen shoes to walk in.
Yeah.
So, literally, my first time walking into a professional kitchen, I slipped and I fell on my ass. It started off horrible.
Yeah, pretty humbling right away.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, was there any... that's just crazy to think that you just went from 0 to 100 in, I
don't know. It's this weird lifestyle. It literally is a lifestyle.
Yeah. And it kind of has been romanticized, I guess, in the last couple of years of the...
There's the romantic notions of it, and then there's, the actual life.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's like reading, memoirs of chefs and thinking, that sounds so cool, just, these debaucherous stories. But then also, you're working when no one else is working, and you kind of only hang out with a group. I don't know.
Being on a submarine.
Okay.
Hunt for Red October sounds awesome, Sean Connery, yeah. But then, the reality of being on a submarine is, not that awesome.
So, how quickly did you adapt at your first...
Not at all.
No?
No, my first job, I just sucked, and I finally, quit, and I got a different job, and I just kept at it because, I would see these guys, and they were awesome, and they had amazing knife skills, and they could, sling around these sauté pans with fire in them and stuff, and I was just like, I want to do that. I want people to be scared of me, And it didn't happen very quickly.
Nobody was afraid of you?
Well, maybe now. No, not even now.
No.
I don't know. It's just something that I wanted. I'd never found anything that cool before.
Yeah. And did you just jump in? Was that your... did you just obsess about it? Because, I mean, obviously you're still cooking.
That's all I think about is food,
Yeah.
I go home and I'm on my computer thinking about food. I'm in the shower and I'm thinking about, I build like little dream kitchens in my mind, and I buy centrifuges on celestial credit, you know.
So did you? Did you ever take any formal training? I guess, or have you pretty much learned on the job?
I tried to go to culinary school in Hawaii for like a semester, and after being in a kitchen where we were doing like 2,000 covers a night,
mm-hmm.
they would be like, okay, chop this carrot into perfect little cubes, this one carrot, and then like chop this apple, and I was just like, I can't do this. And there was like, housewives that were bored and wanted to take a culinary class, and I was just like,
It wasn't your scene?
No, there was no like people to be with. Yeah. Like there was no passion there. So So
how many kitchens would you say you worked in before you jumped out to here? A bunch?
A bunch. For resume purposes, I don't want to say.
No, I don't want you to say the names. No, you don't have to name names, but
I've worked in some bad kitchens.
Yeah.
Like, I worked at the Cheesecake Factory in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And we would do 3,000 covers a night sometimes.
The Cheesecake Factory.
Yes. It was the worst place in the world. Like, I saw things there I still have nightmares
about. Are you talking about, like, the staff? Or, like, the
okay,
customers
both.
have to be horrible, too.
I can tell you stories about both.
You get to say whatever you'd like.
There was, like, horrible managers that...
Yeah, don't name names.
There was funny things with the customers too. Like, this one Japanese couple came in and they were really old.
Okay.
Right? And the wife choked on like a crouton or something, and the Japanese husband wouldn't do CPR on the wife. He just looked away in shame.
Wow.
Yeah, because the wife was choking, and he thought that was, like, very shameful.
Or very, like, she's being disrespectful by choking?
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
So, yeah, I guess that would be a bad experience. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh my god, you should. They would go through our salads, like, they would, like... We had this computer system, right?
Yeah.
So that an order would come in and it would pop up on the screen, and you would open it, and, you know, like, they would time how fast it took you to make each salad.
Oh.
So they could track you and see how fast you were and stuff. So then they would put in, like, false orders, and then they would go through and see, are you using exactly 25 croutons per salad? And, like, you know, like, count, like, exactly how much was in each thing.
Wow.
It was sick. It was, like, disgusting.
Well, I think that literally sums up, like, everybody's preconceived thoughts of, like, chain restaurants and things like that. That's pretty bad. Mm-hmm. But that didn't deter you? That just made you want to get somewhere better?
Well, that taught me... I'm never scared anymore. Like,
okay. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're doing that much, I guess...
That computer system, like, your whole screen would be full of red, and then you'd, like, go to the next screen and it would be full of red. And, like, I had never seen such volume in my life before, and I probably never will again.
Yeah.
And, like, now I'm pretty unfazable. Like, I go here, and I worked at Toro, and, like, we do 100 or 200 in a night, and it would just be like... you know, like...
I can do that.
It's hard to be scared of that.
So, backtrack a little bit. When you started the blog, The Kitchen Ninja...
Yeah.
How quickly was that after you started... Well, I guess actually it'd be a couple of years. Well, how from when you started cooking to when you started the blog, like, how big a gap was that?
Big gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why'd you start the blog?
I was going online and looking for information about food and stuff, and I found all these blogs from chefs, but it was all kind of like a brag blog, you know what I mean? Like, look at this beautiful food that I made, or look at how nice my kitchen is, and none of it was really about the lifestyle of line cooking. Mm-hmm. And it's this weird subculture with a lot of depth to it, and I really wanted to write more about that than, oh, today I made, you know, parsnip puree. You know, like, screw that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that about your blog, is that it's pretty raw sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I mean, I'll never see that side. I miss my chance at working in a restaurant. I'm too old and it's too late for me. But I enjoy that. I think that's cool that there's that insider look, I guess.
I don't think, like, enough people talk about it, you know, just, like, the weird things that happen behind the scenes, you know, like...
Yeah, I mean, because I'm assuming there's quite a cast of characters that work inside a kitchen, and waitstaff, and bartenders, and all that. And
I think the restaurant, owners, like, very deliberately puts that behind the scene.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that weird swinging door with the tiny window, you know, and only very recently have people started making, like, open kitchens where you can actually, like, see the chefs.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, like, part of the culture is changing. I think for some reason more and more eaters want that insight, like with, like, celebrity chefs and things like that. Like, I think that's becoming, like, people want to, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of always been there, but I think there's a certain foodie culture that's on the rise, that people, more that the normal customer are starting to, like, wonder about that kind of thing, for better or worse. So when I was looking through your posts, the one that I really enjoyed was your Alinea.
Oh, the Alinea.
Alinea, sorry,
Yeah.
Alinea.
Oh my god, that was the craziest thing I've ever done.
I didn't count the words in that post, but that had to be at least a couple thousand, I'm assuming.
Oh my god, that was so insane.
So how did that happen? Like, were you just it all started literally by you just wanting a picture in front of the restaurant.
Okay, I was in Chicago for a wedding, minding my own business, and I was like, yo, Alinea's in Chicago. I love that place. I'm just going to go get my picture in front of the front door. So I took the train into town, didn't even know where the place was, took a taxi to the restaurant, and he dumps me in this, like, weird, kind of crappy neighborhood.
Yeah, isn't it? I think it's in the meatpacking district. I know that's where his other restaurants are.
Somewhere. So I wind up there, and I'm just like, what the hell is this place? And, like, it looked like a homeless person had slept in the doorway the night before. And I was like, this can't be it. You know, this is like the coolest restaurant in America. I want sparkles. I want it to look like, you know, the cookbook cover, but done in architecture. No. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go around the back and see what's up. So I walk around the back and I see this, like, harried looking guy in, like, a little chef coat, and he's looking all, and I was like, yo, do you work at Alinea? And he's like, yeah. Are you our stage? And I was like...
Did you almost think about it?
Maybe.
And by the way, you do have your chef coat with you, correct?
No, I had nothing. I wasn't even wearing a bra. Like, it was middle of summer in Chicago, hot. I was just like, maybe. And so, like, he's like, okay, let me get the chef. And so then, like, this gorgeous guy walks out. Like... gorgeous. Like, this guy looked like Christian Bale, I swear to God. And he probably thinks I'm a stalker, because now, like, people type his name into Google and they get a link to my blog. Nice. Like, you can see that on WordPress.
Yeah, which you do reference him as looking like Christian Bale on the post.
So, like, he's like, oh, you're here to stage, and I was like, uh-huh. And he's like, okay.
Oh, so you just went with it?
Oh, I totally just went with it. And he's like, okay, well, you need to get some non-skid shoes, some black pants, and he makes the list. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Did you?
He's like,
by the way, did you miss a wedding because of this?
No.
Okay.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been ridiculous if you go to Chicago for this wedding, and then you just were like, I'm sorry, this is way more important.
I did freak my family out. Like, they were calling the whole time. Like, I stayed there really late into the night.
Did you tell anyone?
Yeah, okay, so... I needed to get the clothes because I was dressed like just a normal girl on the street. Okay. So I run down the street and I see this woman and I was like, where's the closest place I can buy clothes? You know, and I'm like freaking out. And she was like, okay, go 2 blocks that way, yada, yada, yada. So I start running to go to the clothes store and I'm on my phone and I'm calling everyone that I know. And I'm like, I'm so
So, okay, so you're calling your boss?
Yeah, I'm calling, like, every single person in my phone book, and I'm like, I'm still watching Alinea, and I'm freaking out. And so then, like, I go and I find clothes, luckily, and then I run back in, and I didn't know where to get a chef coat or anything, so I just, like, opened the door to Alinea from the back, like it's not locked, you know, and I go into the basement, and I'm just, like, unsupervised in the Alinea basement, and so I steal a chef coat, and then I walk into the kitchen, and the door slams behind me, and everyone's just like,
nice.
And they look at me like, what have you done? And so then, like, I walk up to the chef, and I just go work, and...
So I when I had Ross on, he talked because he worked at Alinea for a month, and he said it was very militaristic like.
Oh yeah, it's like crazy.
Like, it said for him it was almost a turnoff because it was like he said like they broke him down, like everything was like.
Yeah, it's a mean kitchen. Like I've worked at mean kitchens before, but I've never seen people be so. Just generally not happy in a kitchen.
So, like, was that generally the atmosphere? Like, everyone's, like just, like, literally dead focused on what they're doing and, like, no...
Yeah, like, I remember, like, just smiling at someone, you know, because, like, I almost bumped into them and I was like, oh, my bad. And they were just like, You know, like, why are you talking? Don't smile. You know? Like,
and Grant wasn't there. Grant Ackett.
No.
Oh, so that might have been more intense, I guess.
Yeah, he's kind of creepy.
Yeah, he's kind of got this really weird. I don't know. Like, I have this weird perception of him just being like no fun, like just like dead serious.
Yeah.
But then like he has like these restaurants are like childhood, like all these like happy themes.
But see, like I don't even think that sounds fun at his restaurant. You know, it's like childhood, but we've broken it down into a scientific reality. Mwah. You know, like,
I guess that is kind of.
I don't know.
A little.
I don't get excited about that.
But I mean, were you able to fake it? And I mean, did anyone know that you weren't supposed to be there, or no?
I don't even know.
So you literally just worked a shift and then you left and nobody ever saw you again.
That's what happened.
So all these people just
so
know
funny.
about this one
like
girl who
the
showed
guy
up.
That was like, do you want to stage or whatever?
Yeah,
he knew.
Oh, okay.
Because like I was just talking to him the whole time, and so he was in on it, and he was awesome. Because like the whole time I was like, what the hell are we doing? How do you make a gel sphere? You know, like.
What does this machine do? You're just looking at like these crazy contraptions.
How do you turn on the anti-griddle?
Anti-griddle. Oh man,
that was really fun though. And at the end of the night, I just like got my shit and I walked out. I didn't even really say goodbye. You know, I was just like, okay. And he said like 200 people a day apply to stage there.
Wow.
And I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's like ridiculous. Yeah, I mean they're regularly voted the best restaurant in the United States. Like,
yeah, and it was great because they had like carpeting, which was super sick. I've never been in a kitchen with like wall-to-wall black carpeting, and they just have people like vacuum it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
It was so weird. I was just like, wow. And the plates, when they give them back to you, usually when you get plates from the dishwasher, they're covered in water, and they're ugh. And they put like perfect little napkins in between. And I was just, oh, it's so nice here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
God, that's gotta be. It's gotta be like a dream type of scenario.
I mean, really was.
That's like.
And then I came home to my crappy kitchen a few days later, and there was like shit all over the walls, and you know the floor was covered in grime, and I was just like, oh,
you're gonna like request there to be carpeting, and so I mean, I guess I'm sure like you were in a haze of just enjoying the moment, but compared to working in a kitchen where it's more of a jovial atmosphere and people are talking, there's music, I mean, do you prefer that, I guess?
Would I want to be in the big leagues?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, would you rather cook that kind of food but then have that type of kitchen rather than have a more fun atmosphere but maybe not such high-end, you know, groundbreaking $300 a person?
Well, I'm a line cook, so either way it's not gonna be my food. And
yeah, I mean that, but
I'd rather execute on a high level. I mean, those people, they get to do amazing food every night. Like, and I think the reason for all that, you know, focus and high energy put into that one place is just because they're putting out just beautiful stuff, and it's not like the stuff I want to do. You know, like I screw childhood and gel spheres and all that, but I would love to execute it, you know, just to be able to go there and do that is amazing, you know? Like,
well, I mean, I guess, like, different people get into the industry probably for different reasons. Yeah. And some enjoy the lifestyle.
I've written about that a lot, because, like, you get people that can't function anywhere else in society. I think the industry attracts, like, you get like waiters, you know, and waiters are one part of it, and you get like line cooks, and I think it has to do with the hours sometimes, because like you don't live in regular rotation with society. Like, no, we're going to work right as everyone else is getting off work. You know, like our days off we'll never have a Friday or a Saturday off.
Yeah.
You know, like, we live kind of in polar opposites of society, and that kind of makes us very cliquey.
Yeah.
You know, you feel
like you have that
family.
Yeah, you probably know, other people from all over Buffalo that work in restaurants and whatnot.
But at the same time, it's, like, super isolated, because I'll never, like, have friends that are, like, architects or something. You know, like, you don't...
Have you written that off? Have you just written off that you're not going to have non-industry friends?
Kind of. Like, it's hard to meet and keep up with those people.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much you're meeting people who are getting out of work at, like, 1 a.m. And things like that.
And people that have jobs like that usually aren't out at 1 a.m.,
I see. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I see, I enjoyed that. Like, when you do the, when you break down the types of people, like those posts, like, where you have, like, well, you had, like, the fucking new guy post.
Yes, God.
It's one of my favorites, but...
we went through a series of new guys at the restaurant, and...
So, when you're blogging, are you reaching out to an audience, or is it more therapeutic for yourself to release steam? Because, I mean, some of your posts are pretty out there, like, to an audience, like, these are the types of people, like...
Yeah.
But then some also seem like the new guy, like, you just hate... you're in a bad mood.
I think some of them are therapeutic, like, I posted this one about, like, late night drinking in the bar, and that was just... I actually write sometimes, like, just pretty stuff for me. And mostly, though, I'm trying to just talk to other line cooks, like, start a dialogue and just talk about this industry, because I don't think we're very connected, on Twitter. That's been the best resource that I've found, actually, is because there's just a bunch of us crazy line cooks out there, and then we all kind of got linked in together, and now I follow a bunch of chefs, but more than that, I follow, like, line cooks. 'Cause, we talk about more relevant things than, like, oh, I worked with agave nectar today. Like, screw you. Yeah. But, yeah, Twitter's been really good.
Yeah.
Just, like, weird shit. Like, one time I was like, I can't find a piping bag. What do I put this in? And then, like, 18 people, like, had great suggestions for what to do, and, like, all this other stuff. Like, at work, I'll be like, I don't know how to do this. And then, like, people will just be like, okay, do this and this and this. And they're all, like, in the same type of kitchen as me. And,
Nice. You have, like, your own, I guess, social network of insider workers, I guess. That's pretty cool. So, do you have any... I mean, you post maybe once a month on Kitchen Ninja? I mean, you said you write other things, but as far as...
It's funny, because, like, I constantly have this Word Pages document open, and it's usually, like, 8 pages long of things that I've written, but I'm so morbidly self-conscious about, like, is this good enough, like...
Yeah.
Is it something people would want to read, that only... tiny thing makes the cut.
Really?
Yeah. I write.
Except for the Alinea post.
I know. No, that was just like, oh my God, like, so excited.
Just don't stop until you pass out, basically.
Yeah. But I write almost every day. It's just... I'm shy.
I would enjoy more posts. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, everything you've written is very entertaining, and I literally, like, when they posted that leaving the kitchen, I just, like, read through, like, almost all of it. I don't know, because that's not... I mean, obviously that it will entertain me because I'm a foodie and have a food blog, but I don't know, I really liked it, so hopefully there's more.
It's been kind of weird lately because I'm working with Chris, my boyfriend, and he just opened a place.
Oh yeah, so I guess you can't have too many posts.
I know, it's wacky. Like, I don't know, where to write about and not write about.
It's just like, every post you're gonna be like, so I heard from a friend, and then just have a huge story.
I was thinking about doing something on just like it's a baby restaurant, we're just starting out, so like I had to bring the KitchenAid from the house to the restaurant and walking across the street with the KitchenAid. You know, there's not enough containers for anything. So, like, I shark around for containers and I, like, look. And if one guy's about to put one in the dishwasher, I wait at the end of the dishwasher so that no one else can steal it. And I don't think normal people in, like, established kitchens have these problems.
Yeah, but I think that's a cool, unique insight. I mean, I don't know. There's probably that period of time where that's just insane. It's just hectic and nonstop. And that might be entertaining for some stories, I guess. So when so you said that you pretty much are thinking food like 24/7. And when you go home, are you still like do you still like try to make yourself I'm fascinated what cooks and chefs make when they are home not working. Is it like simple as possible?
Okay, we don't have a car, so we go to like the supermarket, Sunoco. It's right across from our house.
Yeah.
Can't really go to Wegmans because it's too far away from me. So we live on macaroni and cheese,
So
Spam.
Is Spam something you brought with you from Hawaii? Your love of Spam?
Yes. Spam and eggs, Spam and rice.
I actually have never had Spam, and I feel like I'm missing out on something.
A lot of Buffalonians haven't, and I think a lot of them don't like it either, because they've just eaten it straight out of the can, and it's horrible like that. You have to, like, toast it like bacon, like brown it on.
Oh, like, almost like fried bologna style? Like
Yeah. It's really good like that.
That should be the next sandwich at the Pink.
Yes.
A fried Spam sandwich. I bet it would be popular. But so basically
I eat crap at home, and I don't eat a lot. I'm always so busy that...
I see.
Yeah. If you look at our house, we have, like, macaroni and cheese and rice and... I think a thing of ranch dressing in the fridge, and that's about it.
Nice. I guess that's not too different from myself. But, so I guess we'll close it out by saying, what is your goals professionally? Because you seem pretty serious about your working as a line cook and just in a kitchen in general. Like, do you have aspirations that you'd like to get to as far as, like, professionally?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, one of the most annoying questions to get from civilians is when they ask, like...
I love civilians, by the way.
What's your specialty? You know?
Oh, okay.
Like, I hate that question. I think mostly because I don't have one yet, you know? Like, I can't say, like, oh, I cook Asian food, or, you know, oh, I cook Mexican food. You know, like, I don't really have a clear vision of
Do you have a favorite?
No.
No? I asked this to Ross, too. He's like, no.
Yeah. You
don't have a favorite style of cooking, I guess? Or it's all kind of just...
I have ideas of how I want food to be, but not like a cohesive vision. Like,
not
if
with
you
like a certain
looked at my
training.
food, you wouldn't be like, that's a Vermeer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so, I don't know, I'd like to actually develop something, you know, so where you could taste my food and be like, oh my god, Hannah made this, you know?
Yeah, or has like your look to it, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So that I could be a chef and not a line cook. My whole life, because there's no retirement plan for line cooking. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming down here and coming into my basement without meeting me. I appreciate the I appreciate you I don't know,
it's a nice
trusting
basement.
me. Thanks. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.